Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's business webinar brought to you by the Champaign Public Library. My name is Madeline Wolski, and I am the business librarian here, and I am excited to have Kia Williams here tonight talking all about how to shift with success when you're navigating redirections. So quick library info before Kia comes on. So we are open and here to help. So if you have any questions about maybe starting or growing your business, you can always book a one-on-one with myself or any of my other colleagues, and you can do that through our Book a Librarian services, which you can get to on our webpage at champaign.org/bookalibrarian. You can always chat with us during our open hours, or you can email us at your leisure and we will always respond. And that's a librarian@champaign.org. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kia Williams. She is a global presenter, master educator, entrepreneur, career coach, and podcast host. I feel like we need so many more bullet points to include all the things that Kia does. So Kia, I will go ahead and let you take the mic and take over the screen sharing.
That is so fun. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share screen. It's going to stop your share, if that's okay. Let me back it up. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time that you are going to watch this re-recording. But hello and welcome to everyone who's here with us today. If you'd like to unmute yourself at any point in time, since there's so few of us right now at this moment, I think I will welcome that. But Madeline is in control of everything, so I'll let her be the deciding factor on that. Again, my name is Kia Williams, and it is an absolute pleasure to be here with you all to discuss something so fun, something so personal and intimate as well. I want you to be comfortable in the space that you're in, assuming that most of us are probably at home, because at the time of this presentation, we are still very much so in a global pandemic, and some areas are still within a stay-at-home mandate. So make yourself comfortable wherever you are. If you want to grab some water, tea, whatever it is, beverage of choice or food, have that with you. We're going to make good use of our time today. So you are here at Shifting with Success. We are navigating career redirections or reroutes, if you will. The description of this workshop, so the reason that you are here is that what is being noted as the Great Resign or Great Resignation, rather. If you're on LinkedIn, this is popping up through hashtags like crazy. The Great Resignation. This is about people who are leaving their jobs or even their careers. People who have been in careers for 20 plus years are resigning from these positions. And we find this very intriguing and interesting, the big why behind this movement, this resignation. But the Great Resign could also be a great opportunity for redirecting towards your true career passion or even job satisfaction. And finding your professional leverage within any industry. So through this conversation today, I want you to truly take into consideration who you are, what it is that you do, and who are the consumers or customers or participants that you serve. And how are they affected by what you do, or maybe even affected by who you are. I want you to take that into consideration at every point in time throughout this presentation, because there's no right or wrong way to anyone's career necessarily, yeah? So to every business dilemma or question that we face, the answer is always, it depends. And then we fill in the blank. It depends on a lot of factors, a lot of variables, and only you know those factors and variables that are specific to your career and your goals today. But what we also are experiencing are huge career shifts. Maybe you haven't shifted yet, but the fact that you're here today kind of leads me to believe that you're considering it, right? Career shifts understood and even mislabeled, kind of put into shame in a way when people switch careers. But you can change the narrative of that by owning your own very unique and complex and transformational career journey. Yeah, we can make this career shift extremely positive, something that people marvel at. You're setting paths that people will want to follow one day. So I really, truly do invite you to join this discussion bravely. I don't want you to feel like there's a right or wrong way of saying something with me in this session in regards to our career shifts. I want to feel your passion, your desire through your questions or even your comments. So please do engage with me, interact with me. That's just the type of person and presenter that I am. I feel your energy, and it's kind of hard to do given that we're all kind of looking into cameras right now or into screens. So yeah, again, feel free to unmute yourself if you're here with me live. If you're watching the recording, maybe you can email me at a later date and we can keep this conversation going. But our objectives over the next hour is to learn how to analyze and leverage our own personal career experiences and to find success, our own success in our experiences. So right now, if you have something to write with, or if you have your phone nearby, open up your notes page and type the word success. And then just let that word sit on the page alone for a moment. And we all have this very awkward pause now, don't we? Like, what next? Because we live in a society and in a generation where we're constantly going, go, 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 alerts, 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 notifications, notifications, something to do, something to look at, something to fill in the blanks. But how awkward and uncomfortable is it to just sit for a moment with nothing to do? No expectations, no to-do list, no one knocking on your door asking for the next deadline or something. Maybe that makes you feel uneasy. Maybe that's not something you're used to, or maybe for once, we feel like we can truly exhale. Whatever feelings that you're having right now, I want you to honor them, sit with them, acknowledge them, maybe even put words and definitions to how do I feel in this moment, to have just a simple word, success, on a blank page. How does that make me feel? And now start to define it. Write out or type out what success means to you and only you. Yeah. Not based on anyone else's standards, not based off of what someone told you success means, but how would you define success? If a child was to come up to you today and say, whoever, fill in the blank name, what's success? What would you tell that child? I have a really good feeling that 9 out of 10, you would give that child the most encouraging speech that you could come up with right now. Sure, we may fumble over our words, we may stutter, but we wouldn't crush a kid's dream, right? We want them to not only know the definition of success, but to feel success, to feel that it's obtainable, right? Now, what if that child was you? You who you are in this very moment. Maybe the vocabulary would change a little bit. You use bigger words with yourself because you're just so astute and intelligent, right? But would the premise of your definition change? Would the feelings change? That warm, fuzzy feeling of encouragement, of I will be successful. Does that change? I sure hope not. In this conversation, we're going to start to unravel and unpack a lot of things. A lot of things have changed as they always change as we get older. That just happens with maturity. But what has become a bit unfortunate is that drive and desire has changed. once society has gotten its hands on us, once the boss's expectations and standards have gotten upon us. I'm meeting with a lot of people who are feeling stuck in their careers because they feel stunted. There's no more growth. There's no more creativity. I feel stifled. I feel like I can't speak freely. I feel like I'm paralyzed in my speech and my thought and my moves and my feelings. But when we just define success for a child, an imaginary child, did we have all those barriers? Were we confined in our being when we wanted to define success for a child? So could we get back to that curiosity, that playfulness when it comes to our careers, to our journeys? Curiosity. Now that you have success on your page and you've defined it, write the word curiosity and then just let it sit. What we want to do today within the next hour is to create new career possibilities. Maybe you already have in mind what those career possibilities are for you, but you may want to think it through a little bit more with me, or maybe even verbalize it with the group that is here today. And it seems like sometimes when we start to talk and think through it, it becomes even more real and it starts to make more sense. I hope that that is one thing that we accomplish here today. But we're going to create new career possibilities that complement your individual transferable skills and support your passions and desires, how you want to see yourself in the future, how you want to retire. Yeah. We hope to mitigate fears and concerns of starting over. So again, as we mentioned before, career shifts and changes sometimes come plagued with this negative connotation of that's a bad thing that you're starting over, that you're starting anew. But you went to a 4-year college to be within this career. Oh, well, I'm not doing that no more. And it's not a bad thing. Yeah. So maybe we're going to start to break down some of that uneasiness that we sometimes feel when it comes to starting over or starting anew. And we're also going to map out on our paper or on your tablet, whatever it is that you have, 5 tips, 5 takeaways of how to pivot our careers towards success in uncertain and unpredictable times. The uncertain times that we're talking about mainly is the global pandemic of COVID-19. What we have seen since COVID-19 is a huge increase in unemployment rates, yeah, furloughs, people being laid off. It's been a scary time for many people. A lot of the unemployment rate, of course, has gone up, but also the reliability or people relying on government assistance when it comes to simply feeding their family has gone up. Now, fortunately, we have those checkpoints and checks and balances in place because it's necessary that we take care of each other. But a lot of people feel less than, burdened by having to take these, I don't know who coined the term, government handouts. Ugh. But that's what it's there for. And what we're seeing is, for the first time in many people's lives ever, with the government assistance of unemployment checks, stipends, stimulus packages, people have finally been able to get ahead for once in their lives, to pay down debt, to finally feel like they're not chasing their tail. And what that has happened, what that has afforded people is more time to actually get creative, get curious, that word that's on your page, and to start finding career shifts, new opportunities within their jobs and careers, right? Is that something that any of you out there are experiencing or feeling? As of today, it was noted that there are 5 million fewer jobs in September 2021 than in February 2020. So right now we're on the first day of November 2021, and our unemployment rate is still high enough that there are fewer jobs than there were around this time last year. Crazy, or at the start of the pandemic, of the stay-at-home mandate. But what we're also seeing that this global shift this interruption, dare I say, this big, huge interruption has afforded people the opportunity to leverage their skills and their worth. Yeah. So earlier when I gave you that big awkward pause of silence, some people have told me that that's what it felt like being furloughed, sitting at home and not going to a 9 to 5. Like I've had the same routine for the past 25 years, Kia. I wake up at the same time. I put my slippers on. I have my coffee. I let the dog out. My life has been routine. And then something that's completely out of my control, an external environmental shift that no one saw coming, there was no contingency plan for this, came and completely rocked my world. I was at the height of my game. And then with one email sent the next morning, everything came tumbling down. And now I'm just sitting home alone, Kia, in silence. Silence is deafening, yeah? That old trite or banal saying that we've heard. But what I've also seen, and this is a beautiful thing, is that the silence breeds creativity and curiosity of people, again, finding leverage, revisiting their true, authentic selves and passions, and then creating something great from there. Is that where you are today? Is it maybe knocking on the door in the back of your head, but you're too afraid to answer because this is not something that I'm supposed to do. This is not something that I've done in the past. This is too new. In my career, I get to tell people what to do. People actually pay me to tell them what to do, right? Crazy. But now that it's up to them, now that people have this one opportunity in life to truly choose their own career path, what am I gonna do next? I don't know, you tell me. It's an uncomfortable thing, but to some people, oh, it's very tantalizing, isn't it? It's quite exciting to finally have that opportunity, that pause in life to do a jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, to do a crossword puzzle or to start over. Have you ever wished that you've done something differently? Maybe in your career. Maybe now's the opportunity. Maybe now's the time that you've been afforded a very rare opportunity to live your dreams. Just maybe. Think to yourself and maybe even drop in the chat. I'll open my chat box real quick. Oh, thank you, Bernard. Thank you for sharing that. I'm actually going to read that to the group. But how are, maybe you call them consumers, customers, but the people that you serve, if you are in a service industry of any kind, your buyer, who receives the goods that you give, the services that you give, how are they affected by this big shift of the past? Well, it's not even of the past, where we are, by the global pandemic. How are they affected? As you're thinking about that, or maybe even putting it in the chat box, Bernard here says, success means feeling fulfilled once your needs are met. That's a good definition. Is that what you told the kid, the child? Is that how you describe success to them? But wondering how our consumers have been affected in whatever industry that you're in. Think about it holistically, the full picture of the person, the consumers, the clients. Yes. Emotionally, how many adults have cried on your shoulder over the past, 19 months? How many times have you, I do my best crying in the shower, by the way. How many times have you stood in the shower and just sobbed it out? A big release of, I don't know what I feel right now, but it's heavy and I need to set down these bags. Maybe not crying, but a loud outburst. Huh? a shoving in the chair, a feeling of, man, this is not working. Emotionally, how are people, our consumers, how are they feeling? Financially, how are they affected, man? Woman, them. How are they affected? Socially, oh my goodness. The fact that we couldn't give hugs, high fives, some of us couldn't see our closest family members for quite some time. I was living in Denver, Colorado, and my immediate family was in Dallas, Texas, when we first had our first shutdown. And Denver shut down, I'll tell you. It was quite interesting. It was scary. But to be alone with a small dog, I was with a dog. But for the very first time, it's like, wow, just like that, someone, a phantom of a person, a phantom of a committee of people can tell me, no, you can't see your aging parents. No, you can't go see your grandmother who you haven't missed a single Thanksgiving with. Crazy stuff that rocks people's worlds. So if these things are affecting, of course, right now you're probably thinking how it affected you, but I'm asking you to think of the people that you serve, the people who pay you for your services or whatever it is that you do. How did it affect them? I'll tell you, it was heavy. It was hard. And many of you beautifully brilliant people out there, you found a way to pivot and transition your businesses and services to meet people online and virtually. But think about it, there was a huge learning curve behind that. Oh, I got to learn, what is Zoom? How do I make it? How do I download it? Which button do I push? Do I have to buy it? Do I have to subscribe to? Huge learning curves. Yeah. And no matter how brave people are or the brave faces that they put on, and we do our strengths quest that says, I'm an adaptable person, adapting is hard. Change is hard and it sucks, especially when you didn't sign up for it, when you were forced into a global pandemic. Yeah. How were they affected? And seeing that these people who you care about, who you have a stake in somehow, you're a stakeholder or maybe even a shareholder in their lives, you then became invested in finding a way, a will or a way for them, did you not? Yeah, I know you did, because we tried to keep this world turning, to stimulate the economy. Amazon skyrocketed because we all needed to buy paper towels, toilet paper. We needed more of it, hand sanitizer, or a robo vacuum cleaner. Why did I need that? I don't know. It served my need at the time. Because dare I push a vacuum cleaner? Ugh, I'm above that now. How were they affected? But how driven were you to find a way to meet their needs? Or even if it wasn't within your job or your career, because maybe like millions of people you were furloughed, you still had those moments where you thought, wow, what my job should be doing, could be doing. Man, if I was the person in charge, I would. Yeah. Those thoughts that you had, that desire that you had to serve someone else. What if you put that on yourself, the desire to serve yourself instead of someone else? How you define success for a child. Would you define it the same way for yourself? When you must close your doors for business, but you still have this strong sense of community and clientele who are committed and dedicated to you and your services, and you don't want to just let them go because someone else will pick them up, and we don't want competition, but because we love and value them so much, we love and value their dollars so much too, we don't want to let that go. So you thought of a way to serve them, but did you think of a way to serve yourself? Not just in a way of, I gotta pay my bills, but deeper than that, to desire, passion. So when I say how are employees affected, not necessarily your employees. I would actually lump them into your consumers, the earlier slides. But employees, you are the employee, you are the worker. How are you affected? Your emotions, your dollars, your finances. Intellectually, how are you affected? Yeah, socially, how are you affected? It's okay to admit that it was hard. It's okay to admit that it was a good time. There is no right or wrong answer. Because we as human beings are very complex and complicated and fascinating. Yes, we are. And we're diverse in so many ways that my experience won't be yours. Yours won't be the next person, but it's still valid of experiences. So maybe write on your paper right now, how did the stay-at-home mandate, how did the global pandemic affect me? And me, I'm talking about you. You're asking yourself, how did it affect me? And write down. You don't have to write down a long sentence. It doesn't have to be grammatically correct. You can say, shift sucks. Shift with an F, by the way. Yeah. Write whatever you want. But now that you've written it, what will you do with it? You got it out of your system, great. Oh, I feel much lighter. Now what? Bernard says it feels like his brain was rewired. I want you to elaborate on that for me. What does rewired mean? Define that. Like a reset, maybe? Because for once you're not rushing around from here to there, like your personality changed. Maybe like you got to know yourself, the real you, once and for all. When there are no expectations. No one's saying this is how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to react to this email. Maybe you found that you were more introverted or extroverted of a person. I know I felt exhausted, Bernard, because in my career, I'm very talkative. Yeah. I have to stand before crowds and give, serve, have personality, be bigger, be bolder, be louder. And then when I finally had the opportunity to come home and close the door and there was no to do for the next day, I sat down and I was tired. Felt like I had been running a marathon for my entire life. Can anyone relate to that? And now that you've written down and exposed yourself on paper of how you felt, how you were affected, maybe write what felt right in that moment, in those moments. What felt good? It felt good to be quiet for once. It felt good to get lost in my thoughts and not have them interrupted by a student having a question, even though I love that. I invite that. It's just different. Oh, wow, I'm getting to complete this thought. I can finish this book. I can finish writing this poem. What felt right? What felt happy happening for you? Yeah. And as you're writing those things, do those things fit into your passions, your desires? Or those your passions and desires scratching at the surface? Being rewired, as Bernard says in the chat, reinvigorated. It's quite exciting, isn't it? Now that you have all of these things that you've given terminology and definition to, what can be done? So what's up? What's next? Remember, I asked you to write the word curiosity down on your paper. Now I want you to define curiosity. What does it mean to be curious? This is probably, it could be one of our top 5 points that we want to take away from today. But now that you've been afforded this rare opportunity of a reset, to be rewired, I keep saying that because I like it. Thank you for offering that up in the chat. Now I want you to explore these things, these passions, these desires, these wishes with curiosity. Have you ever seen a child? I know I use children as analogies because I find them incredibly fascinating. And you give them an object, something new that they've never seen before. And the child takes to it. Maybe not with any caution. Yeah. The kids that I'm around, they're like free range. There's no caution. Curiosity. I open, I close, I flip, I turn, I push, I pull, I throw, I toss. And it all starts to make sense. And the more that you watch that child with that foreign object, the curiosity starts to turn and transcribe into competency. Yeah. The child becomes competent in that foreign object. It's no longer foreign to them. The object does this, it does that. I call it this. They usually put a name to something kids do. It's called this, or I call it, I name it, you should call it, or everyone calls it something fantastic, something magical, imaginary. And then you become even more fascinated in that object of, let me see that. Give me that. Let me see that. Huh, it does do that. Huh, it can do that. A Rubik's Cube. Oh my gosh, the kids figure those out so quickly, don't they? They develop competency. So after curiosity becomes competency, because there's repetition in it of what you've created, you've explored. And the more competent you are in something, if you can continue with it, you provide more research to it, you do more exploration of it, you have more conversations behind it. Then comes mastery. You've graduated from competency to mastery, meaning you are the guru. You are the go-to. I go to that kid of, hey, I can't make this Nintendo 64 work. Can you come? Yeah, all you got to do is, I love when kids do that. All you got to do is, because they've mastered it. They've been around it so long. Hey, how do you use the World Wide Web? Oh, all you got to do is, see the search engine up there? Yeah. We all remember back in the day when we had dial-up, and that's kind of how it was. So these words, curiosity. Under curiosity, I want you to write competency. And then after competency, write mastery. Right now, maybe you're in the curiosity phase of what do I want to do? I know what my passions are. I know what my skills are. I know what I've done in the past, but I don't want to do that no more. I'm bored with it. I've graduated from it. I want you to live and explore with your curiosity of what you want to do. Even if you feel that maybe some people will think that is crazy, this idea that you have, this business plan that you have. Where was it that I heard or I saw in a movie that was like, well, somebody created the Post-it note, a Post-it. I'm sure a lot of people thought they were crazy for that. Oh, they won't be successful behind that. Oh, they are. How many of us use those? So get curious. No right or wrong answer. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks at this point in time. It only matters what you think. And you think it's brilliant because it's your passion. It's your desire. And with that curiosity, I want you to continue to explore with it to try to make even more sense of it to yourself first. And then if you were to describe it or give it to a child, like a foreign object, a new object to that child, within your competency, your understanding of what it is, your vision, your dream, how would you define it to that child? How would you explain it to them so they get it? So that they're like, oh, okay. So it works like this. Got it? Good. And I want you to continue to live with it and explore possibilities, contingency plans, what ifs, fallback plans. If this child breaks it, what then? Can they make it into a new object, a new toy? Or do they have to go to parent to purchase a new one? What's the investment behind it? This is you becoming more competent in yourself and your skills and your plan. Your hows, your who, what, when, where, and how. And then because you're all brilliant individuals, you're going to continue to research. Then you're going to research the competition. Does it exist? Is there something like it already? Who can I collaborate with? Collaboration is great. I don't know why. I guess because we're so many sports enthusiasts in this culture. We're so competitive. Oh, I got to keep it a secret. Just make them sign an NDA. Come on. Who can you collaborate with? Because it's way more fun to be in a community than to be alone. I mean, I had to stay alone for many, many months. Kind of don't want to do it again. Yeah. We're not meant to go through this life alone. I don't believe that. So who would be on your team? Who will be your starting five? Or as one of my mentors says, your board of directors. Who would be your board of directors? Not necessarily people who are going to work for you, but people you can bounce ideas off of, whose opinions you can trust. Yeah. Who are your board of directors? Or Doris Lewis was one of my mentors, as she would say, if you picked up your phone right now and looked at your call log, the last 5 people you talked to, not the spam calls that are like driving us all crazy right now, but the last 5 people maybe you text, are they your top 5? Are those the people you will surround yourself with when you have success, when you have a success story right at your fingertips? Listen, Bernard, listen, Madeline, I've got this plan. I'm going to quit my job. And I'm sure, because Madeline and Bernard are my good friends, I don't know them, not yet, but I feel so connected with you right now during this session. They're going to be like, oh, you're going to what? Tell me about it. Because that's them becoming curious then. And because I'm competent in it, maybe even I'm a master at it, I'm like, I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to do this, and this. Don't worry, I'll downsize my house and live in a tent, but I'll figure it out. Yeah. But because you're so committed to it, even if I was going to move into a tent, the way I sell it to my to my top 5, my board of directors, they're like, huh, Kia can make living in a tent look real sexy. Is sexy a dirty word? Yeah. They're like, I believe it. I can see it. You are going to do it, right? Not that anyone else's opinion matters that much. But if we're trying to sell a brand, a product, a service, or start up a new company, start a new career, we probably need people to invest into buying our services, right? Yeah. So their opinions do matter. So curiosity, if you follow it long enough, it breeds competency. But you, as a responsible service provider in any field that you are in, being competent isn't enough. When we're in different fields all fields are competitive. Yeah. But when we're trying to leverage that, we are the prime candidate. We are the person you want to buy from. We have unique selling points that everyone wants and needs. You got to become the master. You got to become the go-to car salesman, painting with a twist person, right? So thinking about what it is that you want to do with your career shift and all that good stuff. Yeah. Where we are right now is in a great opportunity for evolution, especially in innovation. There's so much technology out there and more apps are coming alive. So even if what it is that you want to do isn't a technology of some sort or an application, still lean into the innovation of tech. Yeah, don't be afraid of tech. Don't be afraid of social media because there's I think the statistic says over 6 billion active users on social media right now. That's a lot of marketing and advertisement for free. Yeah, that's a lot of clicks. That's a lot of likes, a lot of reposts and reshares for free. You didn't even have to buy a billboard because not a lot of people are driving anymore now that they got to stay at home. You didn't have to buy a radio commercial because not a lot of people are listening to the radio. They're listening to Spotify, Tidal, Apple iTunes, things like that. But now there's advertisement on those too. But we just subscribe so we don't hear the ads. But how are you still getting your product or your unique selling point in front of people so that they know that's what I need? I need that person. I need what they are doing. Right now, I hope what you're getting is it's the big pivot, the word that hopefully by the end of this year we won't hear as often. Pivot, 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 pivot this, pivot that. People are pivoting in their careers, shifting, changing gears, changing directions. It's a reroute. You can be amongst those people. You can do it and be successful with it. So again, with the age of technology, social technology is where we are. We got podcasts out there. I'm a podcaster. I went to school for radio, television. One of my degrees is in radio, television, and film, and my other is in creative writing. I thought I was going to write scripts. Nope, didn't do it. Couldn't do it. My attention span wouldn't allow me to. But now I have a podcast where I get to talk to people. I get to host people, interview people. Yeah. That social technology has allowed me to create community and engagement with people from around the globe. I have listeners in Greece. I have listeners in Istanbul. I've never been there yet. I went to a conference a few weeks ago in a different state, and a lady said, "Hi, Kia." I was like, "Oh my word, I have no idea who this person is. I've never met her in my life." But I tried to play along. "Hi, how are you, doll?" She's like, "Oh, don't worry, you don't know me, but I listen to your podcast and I love it." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool." I go to a whole different state and you know me by my voice, by my face, by my stories. That's so cool. Now I want to know you. How's your mom? How's your dad? How's work? How's life? We're building community. The fact that we were all forced into, we call it social distancing, but I think that's the wrong terminology, physical distancing, because we were more social than ever. We just did it through social technology, even though we were physically distant from each other. How many entrepreneurs were birthed from that? By building community. Because we realized how much we value community. We realized how much we needed stronger community. Maybe that's where the shift was for a lot of people. Of, my job as, for example, an editor, they have me in a dark room by myself editing TV packages or movie film. I'm alone. It's just me, headphones, and the screen. But maybe someone came with this brilliant idea of how that person can be afforded an opportunity to join an online or virtual football league or soccer league. I've seen virtual golf teams. People are finding a way through, I'm not saying your way is through technology or social media or social technology. I'm not saying that. An Apple Watch, what I'm committed to is a way of social technology, because I can see when my friends work out, they can see when I close my rings and things like that. It keeps us social and engaged and in each other's business. Maybe that's not the route that you need or you desire to take. But what I'm saying is don't be afraid of it, because so many brilliant ideas have been birthed from bringing community together when we think we've lost it. And that has been creative thinking. So I'm encouraging you to get creative with your thinking. You don't have to follow. Sure, there's been paths laid out for us. And because it's been done before, you can replicate it, you can do it again, or you can get even more creative and make it anew. Answer the needs and desires that were missed by that one creation before. You say, yeah, that's great. But what if, a question that I and people who I have the pleasure of supervising and who I've supervised in the past, I have this running motto. We always ask ourselves, can we do better? And the answer is always yes, because the world is ever changing and evolving. People are ever changing and evolving. We are learning more and more about the complexities of each individual human being and how we can better meet their needs, how we can better make our services, what we deliver, more accessible to people. My content that I create has become more accessible to people because I created a podcast to deliver it. Because I started showing up in their homes more often, not as a one-on-one personal trainer, but as an online service provider, where people can replay discussions like this later on and still feel connected and engaged. Remember, before we had DVR, if you missed your show, you just missed your show. But then someone was like, this is a problem and I've got to fix it. And they created DVR. Are you going to create DVR? So with your paper and pen, I want you to start to analyze your successes of the past. What did you do well? What are you proud of? One thing, and I'm sure you've been asked this on an interview question before. What's one thing in your career that you've been proud of? You defined success earlier on. So now, adding to that definition, what have you done in your life that fits that definition? And I'm sure it's a ton of things. And now I want you to consider your skills. Not just what's on your resume, but the good stuff, the juicy stuff that you don't put on your resume because you're like, somebody might judge me for this skill. I want you to write it down. This is your paper, is your business. Only you will see it, maybe. I won't see it unless you mail it to me. Your skills, just yours. And with those skills, if money wasn't an object, if there was few things holding you back, weighing you down, if you're afforded one more day tomorrow, would you explore your passions? Could you? How would you? What are your passions and how could you explore them? Maybe my passion is boating, is sailing, it's not. But maybe, let's pretend, right now the water's a little too murky and choppy. How else can I boat or sail? How can I feel fulfilled, that feeling that it gives me to be out on the lake or the water? If I can't necessarily be on that type of water, maybe it's a different type of water. Maybe there's a club. Maybe there's indoor boating. Maybe there's boating simulations. Maybe get creative. What I'm encouraging you to do is to get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper, because something magical happens when we see it. Something magical happens when we verbalize it. Something magical happens when we say to someone, one of our key constituents or top 5 or board of directors, yo, I got this idea. Hear me out. Something crazy happens. And what I'm encouraging you to do is not to be afraid of that craziness. Not to be bogged down of what will other people think, because again, we've been afforded this rare opportunity where it don't matter what other people think. We gotta find a way, yeah? We gotta get out there and do things that we never thought we'd do before, or get to, or even want to. So your top 5s, whether you wanna take a screenshot of this slide, write it down, or even just think it to yourself. What are your goals? What are your needs and your desires when it comes to being an entrepreneur or within your career? or a solopreneur, meaning that, you work for yourself, you work alone. The second takeaway that I really want you to keep with, and this is very personal and intimate to me, is to know your worth and to fight for it. I work in the fitness industry, and it's been over 20 years that we have not seen an increase in in pay in the fitness industry. Over 20 years. The cost of living has gone up. Expectations of our roles have become even more inundated. We're doing way more than we've ever done before, doing things far outside of our job descriptions, but we still aren't getting pay increases. That's a problem. That should be illegal. Know your worth and fight for it. Don't settle for anything. Start to negotiate. There's statistics out there that says women are much less likely to negotiate than men are. Stop that. Don't do that. I want you to get a book, The Art of Negotiating, or my favorite book, Getting to Yes. Read a few chapters out of it, read the whole book front to back. Get out there and ask for what you deserve. Ask for what you are worth. And if they say no, then let them have it. You don't have to accept something just because someone else wants you. There will be other opportunities out there. Or if you decide to accept it, then just know that you're still searching for something else, and give yourself a deadline. I will only stay here 6 months because clearly they don't appreciate me anyway, because they're not paying me my worth. So I'm not going to make them even more successful. I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But what I'm saying is protect yourself, protect your values, your virtue. And now I want you to start mapping out your journey of how are you going to accomplish these goals? Your contingency plan of what if. Again, there are some things, some outliers that are going to be completely out of your contingency plan. We didn't see COVID-19 coming. We weren't prepared. Some things will be out of your grasp, out of your control, but other things that you can foresee coming, find a way around it. Find a way that if I don't get a paycheck this month, the lights won't get cut off. Okay? Find a way. Think of way. Get creative. Multiple streams of income, investments, things like that. Now that you know what your passions are, what you want to do, what you want to retire as, or the role you want to retire in, I want you to create that job or career. I'm not saying that, well, I am saying you can be that entrepreneur, you can carve out your own route. But when I'm saying create it, how monumental would it be for you to go into a job interview for a company or a person that you really want to work for, and you say, yeah, I applied for and I'm interviewing for this position. But when they give you that opportunity, because always they say, well, what do you think about this? And if given the opportunity to change something, what would you do? That is your time. That is your time to create that job that you want. You say, you know what? I actually put a lot of thought into it. While this role seems pretty solid enough that I want it, that I applied for it, I see it being this, and lay it out. The things that fit into your passions that will make this a job, career satisfaction for you, where you're excited to be a part of it, where it's easier to get out of bed and to go into it, right? Yeah. Create that job that you want and go get it. And last but not least, I really do want you to keep this with you because it has really helped me along my career journeys, multiple, plural, in my shift in my career, is admitting to yourself, shift happens. Not the swear word, yeah, the swear word, but shift happens. Stuff happens that's out of our control. Oopsie daisy, yikes. Ugh, that sucked. It happens. But what you have proven over the past year or more, or over your lifetime, is that you are resilient. Yeah? You are more than competent. You are necessary. You are essential. You are an essential person, not employee or worker, essential worker. No, you're more than that. We need you to survive. Yeah. So it's about time that you know that and you start to do something with it. So in closing, because it's about that time, if you've been waiting all this time for someone to do this for you, let me sit up tall for you. You now have permission to redirect your career. If you've been waiting for someone to give you the go ahead, the green light, I now bestow onto you the green light to make shifts happen. Thank you all so very much for your time, your energy. Let's please stay connected. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. There's my email address. I wish you all the very best of luck on your career journeys. And thank you for your time. Be well. Take care.
Thank you so much, Kia. That was a wonderfully inspiring webinar. I feel like, gosh, I don't want to leave my job, but if I did, I now have the toolkit to kind of take that to the next level. And we have a thank you from a participant. Thank you for coming. And again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat right now. And while you do that, I'll just kind of close us out with some library info. Again, if you have any questions or want to meet with a librarian one-on-one, feel free to reach out to us at librarian@champaign.org. Oh, we've got another thank you coming into the chat. And I'd also like to share that this webinar has been recorded and we will be sending it out to everyone who had registered, and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you ever need kind of a motivation to share, to kind of bust up what you need to do next, you can just rewatch and enjoy. So have a wonderful evening. And once more, a huge thank you and round of applause to Kia Williams. And I know I'm probably going to start, well, I've been listening to the podcast and I'm looking forward to hearing any future episodes and just following your journey. So have a wonderful evening and thank you all again for coming.